In the blood-soaked annals of China history, one name sends a shiver down the spine of every warrior: Bai Qi, the human butcher. He was a man who never lost a battle, a man who buried alive 450,000 soldiers at Changping. Yet, despite his unmatched glory, he was forced to fall upon his own sword by the order of the king he served. This is the dark paradox of power. How does one become the greatest conqueror in the world without being destroyed by the jealousy of the throne? The answer was found by a man who moved not like a lion but like a fox. His name was Wang Jian. He didn't just understand the art of killing, he understood the art of surviving. Welcome to 81 Chinese Generals. Today we deconstruct the life of the most greedy yet brilliant mind in history. This is the ultimate wisdom of Chinese generals. Quotes: "The general who wins the battle is a soldier. The general who wins the peace is an immortal legend." Why did the man who held the fate of an empire in his hands choose to act like a beggar? Let us step into the shadows of the Qin palace. Wang Jian was not a man of flashy gestures or empty boasts. While the younger generals of Qin clamored for the spotlight, Wang Jian remained in the background, a silent architect of destruction. He spent decades in the military, not just leading men, but observing the fragile ego of the first emperor Qin Shi Huang. He knew that the emperor was a man of infinite ambition and even greater suspicion. Wang Jian's philosophy was built on the most subtle of Chinese generals. Quotes: "The greatest weapon is the one the enemy never sees until it is at their throat." He prepared for the unification of China by transforming the Qin army into a perfect machine, a machine that moved with the weight of a mountain but the silence of a ghost. He was waiting for his moment, knowing that the unification of the world required more than just blood. It required a mind that could play a game spanning decades. He studied every map, every terrain, and every weakness of the Six Kingdoms, becoming the master of the long game. His first true test came against the state of Zhao and their legendary defender Li Mu. For years, the Qin legions broke themselves against Li Mu's defensive lines. It was an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Wang Jian watched his fellow generals fail and realized that on the battlefield, Li Mu was a god. But even gods have a weakness: the humans who worship them. Wang Jian turned to the most ruthless of Chinese generals. Quotes: "If a fortress cannot be breached from the outside, rot it from within." He unleashed a web of spies and gold, bribing the corrupt officials of Zhao to whisper lies of treason into the king's ear. He made the king of Zhao believe that Li Mu was planning to seize the throne. In a fit of paranoid rage, the king executed his own savior. Wang Jian didn't celebrate. He simply gave the order to march. Zhao fell without a single major battle. This is the cold, calculated truth of China. History, the pen, can be far deadlier than the sword. When an assassin from the state of Yan almost killed the first emperor, the rage of Qin was unleashed. Wang Jian was the hammer chosen for the revenge. He led his legions like a tidal wave, crushing the Yan capital and forcing their king to flee into the frozen north. He showed no mercy to those who dared to touch the dragon. This campaign solidified his reputation as the emperor's most reliable weapon. But even as he conquered, Wang Jian watched the emperor's eyes, looking for the first sign of fear or suspicion. He saw how the emperor's power was turning into paranoia. Every victory brought him closer to glory, but also closer to the executioner's block. He understood that to survive, he needed a shield that wasn't made of iron. He began to plan his most brilliant maneuver, not a battle plan, but a survival plan. The world saw a conqueror, but Wang Jian saw a target. The turning point came with the invasion of Chu. The emperor asked his court, "How many men do we need?" The young general Li Xin, arrogant and hungry for fame, claimed he only needed 200,000. Wang Jian, knowing the strength of Chu, shook his head and demanded 600,000, the entire army of Qin. The emperor laughed, calling him an old coward, and sent Li Xin instead. Wang Jian didn't argue. He didn't plead. He quietly packed his bags and retired to the countryside. He knew that the hardest part of Chinese generals' quotes is knowing when to step back and let the fools fail. He went back to the earth, living as a simple farmer, while the empire's fate hung in the balance. This was not a retreat. It was a strategic withdrawal. He was waiting for the dragon to realize that age and caution were worth more than youth and arrogance. As Wang Jian had silently predicted, disaster struck the Qin legions. The young Li Xin, fueled by arrogance but lacking the depth of experience, fell straight into the trap of the Chu commander Xiang Yan. The invincible Qin army was not just defeated, it was decimated. Thousands of black-clad soldiers lay dead in the marshes of the south, and the dream of unification began to crumble. News reached the capital like a thunderclap. The Emperor Qin Shi Huang realized his fatal mistake. In a moment of rare humility, the most powerful man in the world drove his own chariot to Wang Jian's humble village. He didn't send a messenger. He came himself. Finding the old general in the fields, the emperor begged, "The empire is in peril. I was wrong. Please, old general, take the sword once more." Wang Jian looked at his king with eyes that had seen 1,000 storms. He agreed, but his price remained the same. 600,000 men. The emperor gave him everything: the keys to the empire, the lives of every able-bodied man, and the absolute power of command. Wang Jian was now the most powerful man in the world, holding a sword that could strike the enemy or the throne itself. This was the moment of his greatest glory and his most lethal danger. On the long march to the Chu border, Wang Jian performed his most brilliant maneuver, not a military strike but a psychological masterpiece. He knew that the emperor's fear of him was growing with every mile. To command 600,000 men was to be a king in all but name. To alleviate the emperor's suspicion, Wang Jian began to flood the palace with messengers. But they didn't bring news of war. They brought requests for wealth. He begged for prime farmland, for grand mansions in the capital, and for riches for his children and grandchildren. His officers were mortified, whispering that their great general had become a greedy, senile old man. But Wang Jian smiled behind his silver beard. He understood a core truth found in Chinese generals. Quotes, "A man who loves gold is a servant. A man who loves power is a rival." By acting like a man obsessed with petty riches, he signaled to the emperor that he had no ambition for the throne. He made himself appear small and material, to remain safe while wielding the power of a god. This fake greed was a shield far stronger than any iron plate in China history. He stained his reputation to save his life, proving that the ultimate victory is surviving the suspicion of your master. When he arrived at the Chu border, the world expected a clash of titans. The Chu commander Xiang Yan had mobilized his entire nation to stop the Qin tide. But instead of attacking Wang Jian, he did nothing. For a full year, he ordered his 600,000 men to build fortifications, eat well, and play games. He treated the campaign like a holiday. He practiced archery, shared meals with his soldiers, and kept them in high spirits while they remained stationary. The Chu army waited in the heat and the rain, confused and frustrated. They mocked Wang Jian, calling him a coward who was too old to fight. They sent messengers to insult him, trying to goad him into a premature battle. But Wang Jian was a master of the long game in China history. He understood that he who moves first is often the one who loses first. He was waiting for the Chu soldiers to lose their edge, to become bored, and to eventually grow careless. He was slowly suffocating the enemy's spirit through the sheer weight of silence and time. This was the war of boredom. And in the world of Chinese generals, quotes, "Patience is the mother of all triumphs." After a year of inaction, the Chu army finally believed that Wang Jian was truly a coward who would never attack. They began to lower their guard and started a slow withdrawal to more comfortable winter quarters. That was the signal the old fox had been waiting for. With the suddenness of a lightning bolt, the coward vanished and the predator emerged. Wang Jian unleashed the full weight of his 600,000 men in a single devastating charge. The Qin legion moved like a tidal wave of iron, crushing the disorganized Chu lines before they could even draw their swords. Wang Jian himself led the charge, his silver beard flowing in the wind of battle. The Chu commander Xiang Yan fought bravely, but realized too late that he had been outplayed by a year of patience. In one afternoon, the largest kingdom in the south was shattered. This strike is a cornerstone of China, history proving that the most dangerous enemy is the one who has spent the most time waiting for you to look away. The conquest was complete, and the dream of a unified China was now a reality written in the blood of those who underestimated an old man. After the unification of the world, everyone expected Wang Jian to demand more power, more land, and perhaps even the title of king. Instead, he did the most shocking thing of all. He gave back the army and retired. He didn't wait for the emperor to ask. He simply put down the sword and returned to his gardens. He spent his final years surrounded by the wealth he had begged for, watching his grandchildren grow in a unified nation. Wang Jian is the only general of the Big Four in China, history to die a natural and peaceful death in his own bed. He outplayed the battlefield, and he outplayed the throne. His life provides the most profound ending to our collection of Chinese generals. Quotes, "Winning the war is glory, but winning the peace is wisdom." He was the old fox who outlived the tiger. Thank you for watching 81 Chinese Generals. Was Wang Jian the ultimate genius, or just a man of lucky greed? Comment 1 if you admire his survival, or 0 if you prefer the path of the warrior. I am Silas, and the empire he built still stands in the soul of history.